He's in the bunker.
I am in the bunker. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
Did you just dribble a little poop?
Burn out.
What'd you
Burn
do?
out.
Oh, okay.
My jet burned out. Then
So yeah, I like that we're seriously missing the one guy we require.
I'm
Well,
here
that's
right
usual.
now. What's going on, everybody?
That is par for the course.
It really is. Also, Dan, I think this is the first one I've been on with you.
Great.
It's possible. I was on one Jackass Express podcast.
Yeah,
Like
I used to be a bit spotty because we would on weekends was my busy time.
I think Zach's microphone sounds the best out of all of us.
Woohoo!
I don't know. Mine sounds fine to me.
Jeff is in the bunker, of course.
Well, apparently, he's got jets going all over the place.
I don't hear any jets. You hear feedback?
No, Pat, just let it go, buddy.
Okay, I'm gonna be real honest. It's the first time I've had some rum in like a week, so this is gonna be a very fun one for me.
I mean, we can barely tolerate you sober.
No, I disagree. I think this will be a very special experience for everybody.
Oh, great.
This conversation has taken way different turn than I expected.
After the whole deep throating of Pat, yeah.
No, I said I was deep throat. I exposed Richard Nixon.
That doesn't help you at all.
I feel like we should be recording all of this.
Have I not mentioned we already are?
Oh, fair enough.
Hello and
You
welcome
like to do that.
to the Jackass Express, episode 55. Today we have joining us Mr. Dan,
Hello.
Mr. Tip,
We've been at this a decade and have 55 episodes.
and this is Jeff over here to my left.
On the gramophone.
Hello.
He is in our bunker, and joining us from the lavish, serendipitous land of Mesopotamia, Sax.
You don't remember where I live. It's
Michigan. He lives in Michigan.
Hello.
I don't want to tell
Yes.
people on the internet where you live. Sax, please.
I think you could give them a state. It's flat.
Gentlemen, how has life been treating you?
Tip's unemployed.
Yep.
I've changed jobs. Jeff probably has 3 extra children since the last time we did a podcast.
Makes sense.
Negative.
Oh.
No.
And we have a Canadian on the Jackass Express.
Yeah, what the hell?
I'm back.
Everybody's on board at some point.
Yeah.
It's been like 115 years since I've been here, and I think then it was like episode
53.
40.
Yeah, our fearless leader is kind of terrible at organizing things.
To be fair,
I don't know. Based on an earlier conversation, I think he's pretty good at juggling balls. If you
Yeah.
to be fair, it's been for all of us. It's not just been for me. It's been a while, and we've had a lot going on. People are having children, and people are getting new jobs.
I have literally not had a damn thing going on since April.
Well, I had me and Jeff have both had extra children. Tip, we'll give you one. That way, you just hold on to that.
That's a lot of responsibility.
I did tell Tip if my wife and I ever have a child, we might lend him to Tip to go pick up women with.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
So
It's better than a puppy, I'm assuming.
I should buy a puppy.
pisses and shits about the same.
No.
right?
Well,
No,
yeah, I
you
assume
should
that.
not.
Okay, question:
Should not.
Do women find men with single fathers with a baby attractive? Is that an attractive feature?
You're literally asking all
Does
guys.
women
Zach.
find them attractive?
Yes.
Do you
does
find men attractive with babies?
no?
Well, Dan, since you think that the Prime Minister of Canada is dreamy, how about you answer this one?
Okay, first of all, it's not just me that thinks he's dreamy.
He's just being patriotic.
Uh,
Yeah, I
Tip
get
and
it.
Jeff, I think the rebuttal would be Helger.
Oh, yeah.
Now I forgot what the question was.
Well, Helger was an incredibly attractive man at our friend's wedding.
Oh, I'd forgotten about him.
The standard joke of the evening, Dan, was that we're not gay, but we might be gay for Helger.
Okay.
And then icing on the cake, his wife was gorgeous.
Okay, let's rewind a little bit.
Brandon
who
gets
is-
them in the divorce.
Who is Helger?
Yeah.
How did you meet him? What does he look like?
They just said at a wedding.
No, but what? Okay, at the wedding. But what does he look like? Why do you?
Helger was
A Greek god.
Adonis? No homo.
All
Yeah,
right.
no home.
Yeah.
Or is
Little homo.
that not allowed to say anymore? I don't know.
I don't think that's allowed to be said.
Yeah, that
Our-
might not be
it
polluted.
Remember our rule about not being too offensive? Jeff, you immediately jumped over the
But
line.
everything is offensive.
That's what I
now.
do. I'm a habitual line jumper.
Yeah, you are.
Everything is
I can see
offensive.
that.
We have to be careful. But I mean, you can't be blamed for things that were once fine and aren't now. We're old now. It's hard to tell the difference.
Oh, we can use that excuse, huh?
We are.
We're not old
Get off
enough for
my
that
lawn.
excuse, but you can say get off my lawn.
Okay, now wait. The initial question was, Dan, if the Prime Minister of Canada is holding a baby with him, is he attractive? Or does he just like show responsibility in such a way, like the president from Independence Day where he had a kid but his wife died? Is that man attractive?
I'm going to say Justin Trudeau, the current Prime Minister of Canada, could be holding the ugliest, sickliest, most deformed creature you've ever seen in your life, and I'd still fuck him, and I'm not gay.
On that note, welcome, Chase. I'm glad you joined us.
Jonathan came into a great time.
I just saw that.
Don't worry, we weren't talking about you, Jonathan.
We have a very important question, however.
Okay, shoot.
Does a man, single father with a child, seem attractive to a woman?
And as
I
a
can see
woman,
that.
we asked Jonathan to answer.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can see that. They probably have the qualities that a single woman would like.
Why did you say we? Are you suddenly single with a child?
Did I say we?
You did.
Okay.
No, what he's referring to is that Jonathan's an extremely responsible parent. So,
No, what he was saying is that he identifies with women when he looks at single dads, and they definitely have things that Jonathan finds attractive.
Sploosh.
oh God.
Yeah, if that were the case.
Yep, that's the case.
I find it very fascinating that what is attractive from the female perspective, because aside from looks, obviously, and being able to maintain a lifestyle that is supportive and offers security, what else do women look for in someone? You know, in their older years, past 30, I think girls look for something entirely different than when they're, you know, barely getting into high school and college.
Big, fat.
I feel like we should have women here.
Who said that? Who said that?
Nobody.
Okay, now this is the Jackass Express, so this is why we're giving our opinions, Sax, you see. Because we have no clue, but we're trying to piece it together one bit at a time.
Is Andrew joining us for the Jackass Express?
Well, unfortunately, maybe.
Well, we need somebody to keep this together, so it most likely should.
Well,
Finally, an adult voice in the room.
We can't use the F word because he will call you out.
Well, he can't hear because
That
I'm
may
using
be a
headphones.
problem.
Because he's not wearing the headphones, yeah.
So really,
Oh.
Jonathan's the only one that can't.
Ah.
Okay, so let's turn
Try
this
and go
question.
Jonathan into saying fuck.
Exactly.
Let's turn this question
Where's
on.
Uncle Julian?
Where is Uncle Julian? Hey, Andrew.
He has left us.
He'll come back someday. We promise.
No, don't make that
Where's
promise.
Uncle Julian, Dada?
He's not here.
Oh, you're just talking to Uncle Julian?
No, I'm talking to Uncle Tip, Uncle Patrick, Uncle Jeff, Sax.
I'm not the uncle. I'm the only one that's This is horse shit. I'm out.
For the record, I'm okay with not being an uncle because I don't know the kid.
No, it's.
I don't.
It was because
Literally, none of us have met him.
Unless you refer to me only as Uncle Canada, in which case I'm
Oh, Canada.
And
Canada's
don't forget
everybody's
Uncle
uncle.
Canada.
Is that like a
Uncle
superhero?
Canada.
there you go.
Yes. Well done,
Uncle
Andrew.
Canada.
Well done.
My dad,
That's awesome.
Uncle Canada.
That's the new Marvel movie coming out next. Is Uncle Canada?
So really, it's like a crossover with the fat Thor drinking beer, but it's Molson's that he's drinking, and he's wearing all denim.
Accurate. Yeah. He's got a beaver
instead
for a sidekick, and he
instead
rides
of a
moose.
hammer, it's a double. It's a lumberjack's axe.
And instead of he's got the beaver.
Yeah, he's got a beaver for a sidekick, and he rides a moose.
Yeah.
I actually would go to see this.
For some reason, he refers to him as Fang, so he jumps up on the moose. Onward, Fang!
Or is the moose's name Fang?
I think you need to write it, Dan. You need to write
this
Uncle
is-
Canada.
This is a prime example to let everyone know all our ideas are trademarked and copywritten. So
Patent pending.
yeah, don't steal it.
Probably good to point that out, yeah.
Yeah.
I got the deal on the action figures for Uncle Canada. It's just gonna be a guy in his recliner with a jar of maple syrup. And never mind, I'm not gonna go down that.
He always wears a hockey jersey, but instead of any particular logo, it just says sorry on the front.
if you're reading,
Habs.
we have
Anytime he
those.
punches someone, sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we,
I'm so sorry I'm gonna have to take you in there, eh? But you really shouldn't have broken it.
you know how we have those T-shirts that say, "If you're reading this, you're too close." Instead, it says, "If you're reading this, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I feel like that should be on every bumper sticker in Canada.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do people get cut off in Canada?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah, but do they say sorry when they do it?
Not usually. Depends where you are. Like downtown Toronto. Good.
Oh yeah, no, they're terrible there.
Yeah, they are horrible, horrible people.
Isn't their mayor like Donald Trump Jr.?
No, that guy died, but
His brother is the mayor.
his
now.
brother is he's not the mayor. He's the premier of Ontario. So like
Oh,
So you got that going for you, which is nice.
equivalent. Whatever.
The mayor.
Governor?
I don't know what you would call him. He's like a
The governor.
he's the governor.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
This won't come as a surprise, but I'm not aware of the positions that equate to like the American positions. I'm that lazy American that has no clue how other countries
Patrick's
have their
only aware
hierarchy.
of one position.
Patrick doesn't
And-
even probably know who the governor of Texas is.
I do. It's Abbott, right?
And
What's her name?
That guy.
It's him.
I saw him.
Tits McGee.
I saw his name when I pressed the click all.
Don't bring
button.
her into this, Sax.
So okay,
So-
Tip. I got a very personal question for Tip. Very personal.
Uh-oh.
Okay, we just discussed how a single woman might find a single guy attractive if he has a baby.
Yep.
You see a single woman with a baby. How does the male react to that initially?
Hang on. We cannot have Tip answer that question because Tip is not a typical.
Tip is single. He has the perfect
He
perspective.
might be single, but he is not a typical man.
Thank you,
He does
Dan.
not. He does not represent the majority of.
I feel
He is not. He's not middle of a curve on a Gaussian scale.
Okay,
man.
Chase-
He's like
Chase has a child with him. Tip, do you find Chase attractive right now?
No. But what I was going to say is I'm 34 years old now, so beggars can't be choosers.
I think that's completely the wrong perspective to take it at this point. You got opportunities that are endless out there right now. How many 34-year-olds out there that have babies with them that are single? And I think this is a great opportunity to make that advocation. Would you find them attractive? In a generalized opinion.
In a generalized opinion, I really don't care if someone has a kid or not.
he's desperate.
It's not even that I'm desperate. It's just, it doesn't bother me.
What about you, Jeff? Does that feel like something that you would? How do you feel about that?
He can't answer this. His wife has 2 children.
No, but let's say that he was not with his wife, and he met his wife, and she has children. It could be a kid, would you still find your wife someone that you would approach in conversation? Doesn't have to be like, oh, we have to have a relationship. Would you find that?
yeah.
You're asking Jeff if he would talk to someone?
Oh, that's a stretch.
Yeah, exactly.
No, really, my biggest concern isn't kids. It's the amount of crazy.
The
It's a
crazy hot
better
scale.
concern, yeah.
Yeah. And I've learned the past couple of times I'm really bad at that initial judgment of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just decided whatever happens, happens.
Oh, well, like
Maybe I'll give Justin Trudeau a call.
You should.
And a mustache ride.
He doesn't have a beard or anything. He's like clean shaven, smooth as a baby's bottom.
Well, he probably would like somebody with a beard.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. He could
Big
definitely be a
lumberjack
for sure.
beard.
We'll see.
You'd have to dress in flannel though, and I don't know.
Yeah,
if it's
overflowing a
flattering.
flannel shirt.
The brawny guy.
Not just the
Smelling
shirt.
of maple
It's-
syrup.
It's
The Brawny
flannel-
guy is
flannel
now
everything.
three Brawny girls on the new logo.
Yeah,
I mean,
nothing wrong with
to
that.
me, that
the
actually
connotation
seems
was like, it
worse.
takes 3 women to.
Hey, you guys take it up with Brawny or whatever their parents' name is. That's just what they did.
Well, it's the quicker picker upper, right?
No, that's
No,
Bounty.
that's Bounty.
Oh, well, never mind. Well, forget it, brawny guy. You're out of luck.
I mean,
But,
I view this multiple ways. One, it's like it's meant to be used in the kitchen, so then you're putting
damn.
women on it.
For all our listeners, Scott is the one that said that. He is also the cook of the family, and he spends most of his time in the kitchen,
Under the bus, you go. Yeah, Sax spends more time in the kitchen than any.
which
person.
means he does not wear the pants.
No. No. he
God,
doesn't.
why would I need to? I don't want to make decisions. So much easier, just not.
And that's why you ended up in Michigan.
Wake up.
Hey, no, actually, I'm here so that my wife makes more money than me.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that.
You just keep throwing yourself further and further down that line. No.
There's nothing wrong with that. Being the stay-at-home dad is the new American dream. I mean, come on.
I don't think it's the new dream. I just think it's the more culturally. It's just becoming more culturally acceptable.
It's achievable now.
Says the guy who's got everything but the dad part.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I
Fair
mean,
enough.
I'm living the dream.
Yeah, it's different sides of the fence, right? The grass is always greener. From my perspective, I love my family. I'm grateful for my family. They're awesome. But
Are
Tip's
they
got
holding a gun to your head? Wink once if it's yes.
you wouldn't be able to see it, Sax. It's an
We're
audio-
not on video.
It's an audio
I know.
podcast. That's why, yes, they are here.
That's
Wife.
because Sax doesn't care.
But the point is,
It really is.
Tip has the freedom that most people like me and Sax, and I'm sure Jonathan at this point, crave in some capacity, where we're like, hey, we could go out to get a pizza at midnight and nobody would say anything.
Hey Pat.
Except the cop at the pizza place wondering why you're trying to get in there.
Hey Pat, I can still do that.
I
Yeah.
know you
I
can
can
because you
too.
don't have children yet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I could.
Yeah,
still
but
do
there's
that
also
too.
like that
I
period of
haven't been
time that you're
emasculated
referencing lasts for very, very small window.
Dan,
'Cause once
don't
they're
ruin
old
this for
enough to
me.
Themselves,
Oh,
you can
okay.
do whatever the fuck you want. I spent all day down in my room watching Critical Role on YouTube and doing D&D shit. They didn't bug.
Jeff, do you get away with stuff?
I can do what I need to do.
when they're sleeping.
Usually, yeah, when they're sleeping.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
Yep.
And I hear one too.
That's unfortunate.
So let me tell you what I do with all my freedom.
No shame. Go on, Tip.
I went to Wiener Schnitzel today, and that was the extent of my freedom.
Something like that, even that, Tip, is an insurmountable task to the rest of us because we're trying to do something as simple as go anywhere, but the process is never worth the ends. It's always a process. You have to get the kids ready. You have to make sure that everybody has their lunch with them. You have to make sure they're home in time for their snack. You can never enjoy the
Why
outcome.
would they need to bring their lunch with them to a restaurant?
Because they can't eat hot dogs. They don't have teeth yet, Tip, except for, the older one. The
Just
younger
baby
one.
bird that shit. Just chew it up and blah into their
Mash
mouth.
it with your hand.
Or why don't you order stuff that's like, chewable.
At Wiener Schnitzel, there's nothing is unchewable there.
French fries and chili.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
just scrape the chili off the top of the hot dog.
What have you been feeding?
Yeah.
What have you been feeding this child? Chili and French fries.
Just baby bird it.
Yeah, so I baby bird it.
Yeah.
I feel like, Pat, that the image that just came to mind is like a sprinkler head just spraying things in all directions. Just baby would be shitting everywhere.
Yeah, that's basically it.
It happens.
That's exactly gentlemen, absolutely. Dan, have you had this?
Have you ever had to clean one that's gone like all the way up the baby's back?
Oh.
Have you ever had to clean one that's gone all the way up their back in a play place?
You're my hero.
Yes, I have.
Is that, Jeff? Do you feel like an old timey 1920s oil
Tycoon.
driller? Like we hit
Amazed.
gold.
And the thing is that you have to handle it with such a positive attitude because you don't want the kid to get sad or upset. They're already upset.
No, you do. So they don't do that shit anymore.
No, because they don't respond negatively if you get upset. You have to be positive. Oh, we made a we made a boom boom. We have to fix it. I don't use the word boom boom. I just use that for viewer reference. But it's such a traverse to try to take the kids anywhere at any time, no matter what. And they have to be involved in everything. The only reason I'm here right now is because my wife went to a wedding. And I am so grateful for the time to myself. It's like this window.
She went to a wedding and took the kids?
With her mother and the grandmother and the father and all that.
Regardless, that woman is a saint. If my wife was going to a wedding, she'd be like, take the kids.
Yep.
She is. I think
April, yeah, she
It's
really
on-
is a saint.
It honestly probably comes down to the fact she doesn't trust them with Pat.
You know?
Now listen, I've worked very hard to maintain that image, and I'm going to keep it up. Because
I think it comes naturally to you, Pat.
Yeah, I'm actually concerned about your own well-being just when you're alone by yourself. Have you bathed lately? Do you have enough food? Are you going to be okay?
everything was fine until you went to specifics. But
We seen with the Simpsons.
I'm alive at the moment. Everything seems fine. The walls.
Hey, Pat.
Yeah, yes, sir.
It's like that.
When your wife goes away and you're by yourself, by some strange circumstance, does your mom call you more often?
You know what?
I'm just curious.
No more than 2 minutes ago, my mother just texted me, so now you got me worried.
Told you. April's like, check up on him, will you?
It's because she went
Make
to the
sure he's not
movies and she was
dead.
telling me about the movie. That's all that was, right? So
Yeah, she
Well,
really
your
didn't
mom
go to
is
the
not
movies.
a fool. She's not going to outright be like, April told me to check on you. She's going to go in with mundane crap like, hey, I was just at a movie, and see if you respond.
Yeah, your
Make sure
mom
you're
is
not dead.
way nicer than my mom.
see, I already have like worry issues, so now I'm thinking about a conspiracy against me, and it's all just amplifying 10 times over. So thank you.
I don't think
It's
you have
not
to
a
worry about it. I'm
conspiracy.
pretty sure it is a thing.
God.
Also because Patrick is the youngest with 2 kids. Johnny, she doesn't have to worry about. And Mike, Mike's
Mike's
pretty
got
much
3 kids. He's got 3 kids, and yes, he is 80
Yeah,
years
but
old.
he's got his shit together.
Very unlike Pat.
He can cook a hot dog.
I was saying it's like that episode of The Simpsons when like Homer tries cooking breakfast for Mr. Burns and he ends up burning the cereal and
That
That's
was
me.
my sister growing up, which
That's
is
me.
why I now cook.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I did burn Kool-Aid once.
How?
How? Heat's not even involved in that.
Yeah.
You want?
It was an exciting time.
Did you
I feel
think it would
you
like?
need to
you-
elaborate?
I think we were trying to boil the
Yeah, I got the idea in my head that
we had to boil it.
you melted the sugar into the water and the flavoring, and it just came out better.
Huh.
And I'm
Was
also
this
riddled
like-
with.
Was this
Go ahead.
like an extension of like you learned how to make Jello before you made Kool-Aid?
I don't
because Jello uses hot water. So
Yeah,
That's right,
I
yeah.
feel like there was some confusion on
there
the
may have been.
specifics.
There may have been. Point is, I'm riddled with ADD, and I forgot that I had it on the stove.
I really thought you were going to take that a different way when you said riddled with something.
What would I be riddled with?
STDs. That's normally when you say here's something's riddled with something. STD.
I've never heard that phrase though, Sax. I'm a little bit concerned because I've never heard anybody
Kidding
say
me?
I'm
It's
riddled.
a regional thing.
I've never heard riddled with STDs either.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I
Wait,
guess that was more of a college thing.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it was.
we need to ask our foreign correspondent Dan. Have you ever heard I'm riddled with STDs?
Just
said
said
no.
no.
No, you don't say it's
Oh,
not
okay.
usually
Said
I-
no.
I
self-explanatory.
like it.
Fair enough.
I like
No, you have to
Very-
ask. You have to ask Dan in the way he would understand. Have you ever heard someone say they're riddled with ST deads?
You should have thrown in a hoser in there. Hey hoser, have you ever heard anybody?
Take
Oh.
off, you friggin' hoser.
Just for me,
Surrey, Surrey, Dan, Surrey.
Dan. Just for me, Dan. Can you talk about the Habs?
Why the fuck would I talk about a garbage team like that?
The what?
The Habs, the Canadian
Fucking Montreal Canadiens.
The Calvin
worst
and
hockey
Habs.
team in the fucking league.
Oh, okay.
Now we were going down this road.
All right, Dan. Molson's or Labatt? We've had this discussion, I think.
Neither.
Okay.
I prefer Moosehead or Alexander Keith's. Both East Coast brews.
I thought Dan was gonna be like neither. I only drink the finest imports, Bud Light.
Oh God, no.
Coors.
Though I have a
Finest
friend
import.
that buys Busch
Crown
a
Royal.
lot, and I don't understand.
Oh,
that.
Bush is
Because
heinous.
Bush is cheap.
Well, and that's his like way to justify it. It's like, oh yeah, but it's cheap. I'm like, yeah, but it tastes like piss.
I mean, yeah, it's just yellow water.
No, I did buy a 30-pack of Keystone Light.
Why?
No, it was
Tip,
Natty.
not
why?
great either.
Tip, why?
It was Natty Light strawberry lemonade.
Ew.
Tip, why?
It
I
was-
know not to drink that.
It was really good.
From a standpoint, though, of beer, probably not. I mean, was it? I don't know. That's just. There's so many things wrong with that.
It was summertime, and I was at the pool, and
Okay, you're wanting to spend a day at the pool. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't want you want the cream of the crop because then you can't enjoy a full day at the pool.
no. And, we thought we'd try it. And it did the job.
I have a story about a mishap with a beer recently. Recently, Johnny had a party at his house where he was generous enough to make this pork. He smoked this big thing, it like of pork. It was
You
awesome.
don't know what it is.
all
because you
these
suck at
words
cooking.
I know are digging me into a hole, but please give me a chance here. And April's parents, my wife's parents, they had gone to Kentucky to visit with the grandfather. They had brought back this awesome, amazing coffee stout, and it tasted delicious. It was amazing, but it was 8%. It was 8%, and that can kind of hit a little bit hard. So
Pussy.
of course, well, no, I had two to myself one day, and it was amazing. But I saved two because I wanted my dad to try it, and I wanted Johnny to try it. So I took two to his party, and then while we're eating, I went, to Johnny's fridge, and I got the chilled glasses, and I poured them each half because I wanted to make sure that they're okay with basically having this crazy thing. But when I went to the fridge, I noticed that the other one was missing. And I'm like, oh crap, where is it? So I go outside, I serve them both their beer, and I noticed that Johnny's father-in-law has the other beer. And earlier that evening, he says, I don't want to drink too much because I want to keep it simple. But he had noticed a beer that wasn't the same as the other beers. So he drank it, and I kind of looked at Johnny, and he looked at me, and I noticed that he just kind of was not having it. Like, I guess it hit him too hard. And I went back inside because, Joshy was there, and I figured, let's get going. And he walked in, he's like, I need water. Like, he was completely out of it. And I felt so
How
bad about that.
big was this beer?
It's not a big beer. It was just a regular bottle, but it was 8%. And I think because he wasn't expecting it, and the weather was a little bit hot that evening, it just hit him so hard that he was
Maybe
not.
you should have someone check his liver.
Oh, he's fine. He's fine.
Or, you guys need to stop being pussies.
Agreed.
Jack,
Thank you.
we had a great night.
Yeah.
Johnny had a bunch of other beers, but yes, I felt bad for the father-in-law because I accidentally, I guess, poisoned him. I guess, I don't know.
Well, technically, yes.
There you go.
He'll survive.
Yeah.
Delicious beer. I mean, aside from Guinness, that thing was top.
I had a Yulings a couple of weeks ago for the first time. Not impressed.
A Yingling?
Yinglings, yeah. What did I say?
Yulings.
What's a Yingling?
It's
Uh,
terrible.
Yeah.
You had a Youngling?
Terrible beer.
Honestly, it's the oldest. Well, they say it's the oldest continuously operating brewery in the U.S. It's from the East Coast. They swear by it, and honestly, when it's on tap, if I had a choice between seriously like Coors or Yingling, I'd take the Coors. Like Yingling is not very good.
It's not good at all.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the old Henry Weinhardts when they were kind of a little skunky. That's what it reminds me of.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. You know what I really have taken liking to lately is this thing called Dos Equis Amber. I like Dos Equis, but this Dos Equis Amber, I guess the red beer version of it, amazing.
I can't believe that you live in El Paso and you're just experiencing these things. Pat, do you ever go outside and like explore things?
I just explained that I had children. Zach.
So I'm a soul guy personally.
Johnny likes soul.
I'm not big on Dos Equis.
Dos Equis,
amazing. It's
well,
good.
no, the standard one's not good, but there's. Oh no, I'm thinking. What's the other one that's Negro is really good.
Modelo.
Yeah, Modelo Negro is really good.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I will give you that, sir.
I can agree with that.
Okay, Dan's just giving us some critical breaking news that Moosehead Breweries was founded by a woman.
And he didn't know that.
I had no idea.
Look at that.
Terrible Canadian.
Damn Canadians
I
being
know,
all
right?
inclusive and shit.
In the
In 1867, no
1867.
less.
Dude, that can is freaking sweet looking.
That is a sweet looking.
Yeah,
I
they
like
actually
the
they
color
just
scheme.
redesigned their logo a couple of years ago.
It
That's
reminds me of Moose Drool, which is in
I've heard
Missoula.
That's a good color scheme.
Anybody who would like to see this, go to moosehead.ca.
Yeah.
And they're
good beer.
will be-
If you go to the gear or to the shop and you look at their gear, the first two things are a hockey jersey and a flannel shirt.
Jesus Christ, you can't get. Yes, it is. You could not get more Canadian than
Wow,
that.
That's amazing. I love it.
Moose Drool.
$95 for the fucking jersey, though. Holy shit.
Well,
they
those
probably-
are Canadian dollars, so that's like 20 bucks.
True, it's
Yeah,
like
it's true.
20
It's like
bucks here.
$15 or something.
I know what Moose Drool is. It's amazing, and I love it. And every time I go to Great American, I get a Moose Drool on tap. Delicious.
Good for you.
You're a great American.
I'm trying to
I wouldn't go
participate.
that far.
Anyway, the point of that was it's available in the US, so you guys should try it. It's
Yeah, I'm gonna try to look for it.
All right.
Oh, I guess I'm going to Total Wines tomorrow.
Damn you, you've got one of those?
Yeah.
I like that you know exactly where to go.
So
Well, in San Diego, it was Bevmo. Like that in California is the huge liquor store that has everything. So I mean, yeah, most places will have one place like that.
And then, well, see, here's the cool thing about living in a place that thinks it's kind of like California, but still wants to be Texas. If I can't find it at Total Wine, I go down the street to Specs.
Oh yes.
I don't
And
know that place.
Specs is like Total Wine.
Oh, okay.
John was telling me we're going to get a Total Wine in El Paso.
Ah.
Yeah. So, and he was telling me that it's superior to Specs. So now I'm confused. I'm not sure what's
Total Wine is far superior to Specs.
Yeah, they've got a really good selection. That it's the reason I know that is a lot of times trying to find whiskeys and things. Total
Mhm.
Wine shows up as carrying it,
Mm-hmm.
but then won't ship it. 'Cause
No,
they're dicks.
but if you send me what you want, I'll go pick it up.
Well, I want Jonathan to bring back the freaking
Whiskey.
Cavalan, soloist.
Yeah.
Because in Taiwan it's like 140. Here it's like 240.
Yeah. Plus, I would do my markup, so you'd be paying like $320.
Where's the love?
You're a good friend, Tip.
He still charges retail price.
240.
Unemployed.
Charge 2.
Fair point.
You'll be fine.
Fair point.
Yeah. So,
Question, Tip.
239.50. I'll charge you.
Of all the places you traveled to, were you ever going to make a trip out to the Area 51 raid?
no.
Was anybody?
I don't like getting arrested.
There's that.
Or shot.
Two,
More
it's in the
shot.
middle of the desert and there's no like running water.
It's
I
New
don't think-
Mexico.
It's Nevada.
That was the
Whatever.
most hard cut tangent segue I've ever done. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But also, isn't it not until September?
Yeah, like September 21st. And I have a wedding that day.
So
I really hope there's just like a live feed of them all getting shot and arrested.
well,
And we'll never hear. They'll just be like, "What raid?"
By the way, we have a lot of new rentals opening up in the area.
Yeah, the what raid?
there was no raid. Nobody came to see us. Everything is fine.
The wrong
Really
country,
Russian.
buddy.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
trying to relate it. Now,
Is Area 51 protected by the Russians?
Might be, maybe.
I
Highly
that's
unlikely. They
not what I was
According to Pat, it is.
not what I was going for at all. Okay, so now Jeff Sachs, best case scenario for any idiot that shows up to the Area 51 thing, what happens?
best case,
Best case scenario.
you get arrested.
Well, best case is they stand outside the gate and just scream, and
Yeah.
everybody ignores them,
Fair enough.
and then they go home and cry in their basement.
What? Go ahead.
I was gonna say worst case, you get shot.
No, I would say worst case is aliens are real, and as kind of like a solid to some alien empire we're about to go at war with. It's like, hey, you guys like anal probes, and hand all those people over. I would say that's the worst case.
What if the aliens are empowered by the cheers of the people the same way the slime was dispowered by the cheers in Ghostbusters 2 coming off of the museum? And then the
Well,
aliens
then
are able
that's
to escape.
Worst case for everybody else.
But what if they're like grateful for the fact that they're finally free and they give us, I don't know, teleportation technology?
That's not exactly how it works.
I've never been an alien. I don't know. I don't know how it works. I mean, it's got to work somehow.
Most
Your
people,
wife gave birth to one.
most people that
Wait a minute.
escape captivity don't go and like help the people that were keeping them captive.
Yeah, they usually stab you in the back.
Yeah.
Oh, so like you don't think there would be any gratefulness from the aliens if they were to be freed?
No, they would probably come back with.
I would assume they'd anal probe you last for it as a thanks to you,
Yeah.
but they'd still kind of hold a grudge probably against most
And-
people.
And for Pat, that's probably more disappointing than being first.
I mean, I am sensing an underlying tone to this podcast.
Of making fun of Pat.
Aliens.
No, it's that
Anal?
homoerotic. Yeah, it was that homoerotic line of joking that we've been on since before it started.
Tip, you're not helping. You're not
There's
helping
the heavy
anybody.
sigh.
Nothing is helping anybody. I'm against this whole thing entirely. No, I'm just curious because from a practical perspective, I mean, no one can take this seriously, right? I mean, this to everybody, this has to be a wild fever dream sort of thing.
So, in a practical perspective, nobody took President Trump's campaign seriously,
Oh god.
and here we are.
I still don't entirely take it
Is
seriously.
it true that one of your prospective whatever could be candidates promised to release facts about aliens if he was
Sanders.
voted in?
It was Sanders.
Was it Sanders?
Yes, it was. He
Yeah,
said that if
Bernie
he's
Sanders.
president, he will say there's aliens.
No, wait. He said there would be, or he
I
would tell us if there
I think
are.
he
He
said.
would tell us.
If I read it right, it just said like he would reveal.
He alluded to
stuff.
it, at least on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Sanders is crazy.
Yeah,
Marianne Williamson,
batshit crazy.
yeah.
Elizabeth Warren.
Crazy.
Tip, no. Okay, go on.
I got an idea.
Go ahead.
What if, just until we find some better candidates down there, we bridge the gap, and Trudeau just manages the states for a little bit?
Oh no.
Why don't we just give
no.
it back to the Queen while we're at it? Come on.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
okay.
they got Boris Johnson running things now, so
Okay,
Yeah,
Dan.
you don't want that.
Dan, I want you to imagine something. I know you had a very good relationship with your grandparents, and what if your grandfather came to your house as a child and said, "I'm now running things"?
We would say, okay.
Your family would be okay with that. Everything would just
Yeah.
work well, and then
Honestly, they would.
you would be sent off to chop wood and bring in moose meat.
I grew up on my grandpa's farm. Anything he could throw at me, he threw at me anyway.
here's the
So I don't see
problem
it being
with
any
Pat's line of
He
questioning.
did a lot of choring.
It invalidates my question
Lots
because
of chorin.
he actually did it. Okay, go on, Tim.
Well, no. Here's the problem with your question. America is older than Canada. So the
Fair
question
point.
should have gone, hey, what if
No, it's
your
not.
kids? Yes, it is.
From an independent state.
From an independent state, yeah, sure, but no.
But no.
I like to think that as the Earth was churning all the pieces into place, the U.S. was first.
When it broke away from Pangea, we were first.
Yep.
Excellent use of the word churning.
So, yeah.
I think we're in for a very interesting couple of weeks, and to say the least, it's important to bring up this topic. I don't want to bring up this topic. I think it's important to bring up this topic, and gentlemen, if you will forgive me, as we're nearing the last section of the podcast here. As you know, most of not most, but the majority of the Jackass Express was actually located in El Paso, where we recently had a very tragic, very frustrating international incident, and it's unfortunate, and it is very, I don't even know how to describe it. There is no jokes to say about that, but it's something that I feel that if you're from El Paso, and again, this is a very heavy-hitting segue, and I apologize for that. But the perspective that we have here from people in El Paso is not something that I want to understate, and I don't want anybody to feel that we are neglecting the obvious, but I also want to make sure that everybody understands that we are very disheartened by what happened. And I also wanted to offer a perspective of somebody who is from El Paso, somebody who's been from El Paso and has moved away, someone who's moved overseas, someone who's never been in El Paso living except for coming to visit us and eat Johnny's brisket, and also a Canadian. I figured that would be a good perspective. Tip, I hate to ask you this, but what is your perspective on everything going on?
Oh wow, me first.
No pressure.
Yeah, it's there's no easy way to put it. It's a shitty situation. The guy's heart was filled with hate, and he had to drive 10 hours to pull something off that no one should even consider pulling off.
And that's what's interesting is that nobody from El Paso would have that type of, yes, there are very annoying, very dumb people in El Paso, but they're not that bad. That was
it's one of those places. Growing up, I never had fear of being in a certain neighborhood or something after dark. And even in college, I had a friend that lived on the street by the university, and you could walk downtown right up to the International Bridge. and we'd be drinking at his house, then decide we wanted to go to a bar by the International Bridge, and we'd walk there. And you just no fear, never had any fear of being mugged or shot or anything. And conversely, you know, I've lived in a couple of different places now where there are neighborhoods I won't even go to during the daytime. And so when you look at El Paso, it's one of those communities where people, I mean, the whole community thought it could not happen there.
Absolutely.
And for good reason. And the only reason it did happen there is because some guy drove for 10 hours.
Yeah.
So it was shocking. You know, the first thing you do is you call everybody that you know. You know, yes, my parents and all my friends, no one was there. But you call because everybody in El Paso knows everybody. And so it's one of those things you have to call and you check on everybody, even people you haven't talked to in 2 or 3 years. And hey, are you guys okay? Okay. And it was really shocking. And it really felt like a punch to the gut when I watched the news coverage.
Yeah. I mean, it complete and total shock to us because, I mean, it's safe to say that, and maybe this is just ignorance, and I'm guilty of that a lot, but El Paso, I feel, always existed in its own little bubble where we just got along and we don't even understand why. And it's not a superiority thing. It's just simply we just grew up that way. We never experienced anything where there was anything but everybody getting along and selling you a burrito and, you know, teaching your classes, and everybody just worked that well together. It actually was a hard stretch. And I'm not saying this in any type of like, oh, we're better way, because that's not the case. But it was a hard stretch to believe that people would just hate each other for these obscure reasons. And it's like, why would you go to such lengths of troubling yourself to hate someone so much when it was so much of your effort that had to go into it? And that always bothered me. And Chase, I know that you've heard the news of this, and as someone who's not been in El Paso since God knows when, I mean, what did you take away from this?
I don't know. I think it's interesting because I've been kind of very far removed from anything that happened in the States, and even though this, you know, hit obviously very close to home, I kind of don't. I don't think I feel like the same reaction that everyone else has, especially even with like my Facebook feed. Everyone's like, "Oh my god," and all this other stuff, and I'm just like, "Yeah, that sucks," but I don't know. I think I've kind of removed myself since it's been so long being back home that every time I do go back, it's definitely not the same place that I remember growing up in. Now, that said, I mean, also, obviously, I did call all my relatives, all my family and friends and whatnot. Even like my dad said that he was going to go to Walmart at that time to get some curtains, and then decided not to because he was feeling kind of lazy.
Damn.
I was like, oh, yeah. So,
well, yeah, and that's the thing. For perspective for everybody that's listening, the majority of us, we grew up within 2 miles of that Walmart.
Oh yeah.
And that mall was where people went to go watch movies and do all their I mean, that was it for us growing up. So it's something, you know, and it's something where, you know, you have to call and check on your parents, because my mom goes to that Sam's. Or
now, something to keep in mind though is, unfortunately, you're not the only ones that feel this way.
No, definitely.
There's a lot of other people in a lot of other communities that have gone through this exact same thing up to this point, and unfortunately probably will in the future.
Yeah, that's
right.
100% accurate. And it's just, you know,
it's always a news story, and it's always a tragic news story until it hits so close, and then it becomes this nightmare of like, I can't believe it's real. And this is going to be a terrible equation, and I'm going to try, I don't want to make it sound negative or unsensitive anyway, but it's kind of like you listen to your favorite band and then you see them in person, and they're two different experiences completely. And this obviously is not the same thing, but it's that same shock, but in a negative way. Like you always hear about, the monster under the bed, and then one day there's the monster, and you're like, holy crap, that was, like Tip was saying, me and April, we lived in an apartment very close to there, and every week for groceries, that's where we would go, that Walmart. And even the day of, me and Johnny's parents were at the Costco. And I remember seeing one of my friends, a friend of the Jackass Express, Dave from Revolution of the Board. I don't even know if that's still going on, but he was working at another place close by, and he had heard all the commotion, and they were ordering them into the back rooms. And my parents were telling me how when they left that the cops were just showing up, and it was just a awful experience. Nobody should ever have to go through that, and we're very troubled, very sorry about everything that happened, and it's just unbelievably tragic, and I don't even know what more to say from that. Now, Jeff, I know you're not from El Paso, but this is kind of like what I wanted to find out is what did you hear? How did you find out about this?
Well, we were traveling, so I wasn't really looking at the news. I just heard that there was a shooting, and then it wasn't until later that I found out how awful it really was. And it is unfortunate to see all that senseless violence, but when these things happen, I think Mr. Rogers had the right way of looking at it. You look for the helpers.
Yep. That's very true.
There are a lot of stories that have come out about people who've done heroic things, and use them as the person you think about, not the guy who just was evil.
Exactly. Yeah. I couldn't have said any better myself. Now, the last person I want to ask on this, and I mean it, the last person I want to ask about this is Dan, because Dan, I know from the out of country perspective, America's constantly having these problems. Did you hear about this? Did you hear about it?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
So, not to
go ahead.
I don't know how to approach it. So, I actually heard about this through Twitter. It doesn't matter who. It was a porn star. Said something about it. It was Jessica Drake, if you really want to know. It said something about oh my god, my heart, or something like that, or my home, and it said hashtag El Paso.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck happened in El Paso? And the first thing I want to say is I've known Pat and for about 3.5 years now, and Tip just a little bit less than that. And if anybody ever tries to tell you that you can't make real friends on the internet not having met anybody, they're full of shit. Because the first thing I thought when I read, because I saw that and I ran to Google on what happened in El Paso, and I see that there was a shooting, and I immediately started to tremble, and I sent out a message on Discord trying to get a hold of Pat because I knew he was in El Paso, and I was genuinely worried, and it took about an hour before you responded. And that whole hour I was sitting there just on the couch staring at my phone, and my wife's like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, this thing happened, and that's where Pat lives, and I don't know what's happening, and he hasn't responded. And that was really weird for me in that regard, just that my friends could be in trouble. I'm very happy that none of you were hurt or involved in that in any way, shape, or form. But on the other side of that, we hear through news outlets about all the shootings that happen in the States, and I feel like from my perspective, we're watered down with it to a really bad point where even myself have been guilty of this. Oh, it's just another shooting. Oh, there's another shooting in the States. Oh, there's another shooting in the States. And to tag into the Mr. Rogers thing and looking for the heroes, I believe that most of the reason that these people do this is not necessarily the hate of whatever it is they're feeling. I'm sure that's part of it, but it's they know that they're going to get their 15 minutes of fame, and there's going to be stories, and if they write something down that indicates that they planned it, it's going to be they're more notorious and they're more famous, and I think that can hurt people, not the people that they hurt, but like hurt the people that are doing these things. Yep. Because they're looking for something like that to grasp onto. Maybe they're trying to start a YouTube channel and nobody's watching. Maybe they're constantly on Twitter trying to engage with people and nobody responds, and they start feeling secluded and they think, well, I can get famous by killing people.
Yep.
That might not, it's a very generalized thing, but a lot of people will look to me and go, yeah, well, you're going to argue for gun laws and stuff like that because your gun laws in Canada are so much more strict. And while that's kind of true, I don't necessarily believe that the gun control to the degree that people are talking is necessary. I think a lot of it could be cleaned up by not throwing it all over to the news that, if something happens, you report on it and report on the heroes and report on the victims, but don't mention whoever the hell did it.
Right.
That shit needs to stop like yesterday. That could help. But it also needs, in my opinion, to be a change of mentality. All I hear from a lot of the quote unquote gun nuts in the States is, it's my right. You can't take my guns. It's my right. Right. And while that may be true, it's in the Constitution to say you have the right to bear arms. But I believe the rest of that is to fight against, I can't remember the wording, but it doesn't stop at you have the right to bear arms. I think a lot of the states need to just change the way they think about it. And yeah, a ban on assault rifles might help, but it might not. But I think a lot of Americans just in their core are like, it's my right to have guns. So that's it. I can have whatever I want. I can do whatever I want with them.
And I think one of the biggest problems that we're facing right now is that the ones that are advocating to not have anything change in terms of regulations aren't necessarily the greatest advocators of how to articulate that sort of thing. It's the people who are so desperate and fearful that everything that they built is being like their gun collection or whatever is going to be taken away, when in fact that's not the argument. The argument is that if you're not equipped mentally to handle a certain grade of firearm, you should not possess it, at least in my opinion. And
that's not even a thing here though. Like, people think that our gun laws are like that. It's not. I mean, you can get a license to possess and acquire. You just have to take a safety course, and it's somebody deemed responsible to train you and say, yes, I deem that this person can safely handle firearms. Sure. And that's all it is. It's not, there is a ban list and there's certain firearms that are prohibited, but you can be grandfathered into that.
Absolutely.
If something changed, like recently they were talking about banning AR-15s here or something like that. There was some sort of AR ban, something that we have listed as a restricted firearm. They wanted to put it in the prohibited list. And even some of the people that come through my work were freaking out about it. But it's like, if you have one, they're not going to take it away. It just moves to a different list, and your possession license actually gets grandfathered in, and it will now say non-restricted, restricted, and prohibited.
Exactly.
And then once you have that prohibited tag, you can buy other prohibited firearms from that day forward.
Exactly. And I think that's what people fail to understand. And it's not nothing that we come across and say that we have the definitive answer on. It's an answer that is so left in ambiguity that it's beyond my pay grade to even understand how to regulate that. All I can do is offer opinions in the wake of everything that's happened. And I think what we need
I have the definitive answer.
Oh God. Okay. Here we go.
We need to talk. We need to get past this left, right. I have the right idea. You just want to take away my right. Whatever. We need to get past all. We need to sit down and talk.
Sure.
And that's the answer, because that will go forward. That being said, wanting to get back to normal, El Paso's greatest export is its people. Its people can be found everywhere. I've never been to any city anywhere in this country where I didn't run into another El Pasoan.
And tacos.
Yes.
Yeah, well, this feeds into my point. And these people in general have made the communities that they've moved to better. Whether their communities or their companies, they've made it a better place. They've made it a happier place. They've they've done a lot of things. You can look at Eddie Guerrero, professional wrestling. Apparently Jessica Drake, I didn't know that. Thank you, Dan, for that knowledge.
I didn't know that until I read that either.
Yeah, there's example after example after example. I'm sure everyone's met that person that's just generally happy, chipper, and that's what they do. We export wanting people to be happy and laugh and share in, I guess, the El Paso way, the El Paso culture. So that all being said, the Jackass Express is a comedy show, so we want to make you laugh. And I think the best way for us to honor the people in Dayton or El Paso or Gilroy, I think was the other recent one, or any of these other continue to attempt to make you laugh, even though no one thinks we're funny, and it takes us 10 years to get to 55 episodes. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah, I mean, it is it's a different territory. It's a serious podcast. It's not something we're good at. I think many people would agree to this. We tend to talk about things that are more relevant to our weird perspectives. But
we're not really good at comedy podcast either, Pat.
No, I'm not saying
We're
that we are
kind of bad at this whole podcasting thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, let's call a spade a spade.
Let's take a step back there. Let's walk it back down and let's focus on our strengths, which I believe Tip said was the tacos of El Paso, which are, by any definition,
I
unsurpassed.
mentioned the tacos.
Thank you, Zach. But we do appreciate everybody listening through that. I mean, it's important to us. I hope it's important to other people, and at least makes you think. Gentlemen, what is in the future for you? What's coming up next? Anybody can answer at this point.
I plan on having a job sometime.
Well, that's good.
That's good.
Job hunt continues.
It's nice to have goals.
Yeah, exactly. Goals. I seriously, I had a real interview.
Nice.
This past week, felt really excited about it. So starting Monday, I'll be making $7.25 an hour at the QT Mart. Come see me. No, and in all seriousness, I'm planning on having a job soon. So
you'll finally be useful.
I wasn't useful at my last job, so that's to be debated.
I think the
That's
untouched value here is that you've gone through a while without having a job, and you've been able to be sustained. So you're not necessarily living in the gutter, but you've had time off from work. That's awesome. I mean, it sounds like it's not the same thing, I know, but damn, man, it would be nice to have like a month off from work.
A lot of people are probably going to get pissed off about this. But if you don't go out and buy the newest, greatest thing all the time, you can afford to take 4 months off of work and not change your lifestyle.
I don't buy the newest, greatest thing, and I can't take it.
So,
no,
Do you have kids?
No,
though?
Tip. That's also because Pat doesn't work. So
I work.
Wait, when you know, I've seen a lot of pictures about like making coffee and stuff. I don't know that you actually have a job.
Look, man, coffee is an important part of the day.
Barista.
We were talking about being a stay-at-home dad, so I thought you got canned or something.
yeah,
That's the goal. That's very different.
your goal is to get fired.
No, please. But what I'm saying is that, look, man, someone's got to stay at home and watch Elmo with the kids, and I will take the step forward to be that person. That's what I'm trying to say.
Kids don't watch Elmo anymore.
Mine does.
You need to reevaluate your parenting skills, young man.
Okay, let me tell you something.
April has 3 kids, apparently.
We're watching Elmo because Daddy says we are.
Everybody just calm down. And watch Elmo. No, I asked my kid once. I said,
Josh is like, again?
no, he's good. He's got his own thing going on now. He's been playing a lot of Super Smash Bros. Lately. But like lately with my daughter, I've asked her, can you say mama? And she'll go, mama. And I'll say, can you say brother? And she calls him Bubba, because I guess that's all she can say. And I say, okay, now say dada. And she'll look at me.
She goes, dumbass.
Milkman.
Damn it. No, but
like everybody was prepared for that one.
I will say dada. And she'll look at me and go, Elmo. And I'm like, no, say dada. Elmo. And I'm like, damn it. Where did I go wrong, Dan? Where did I go wrong?
I don't know where
no idea.
wrong, but you went way wrong.
Dude, I don't even know how my kids like me. Like, I stomp around here grumpy as fuck, yelling at them all the time, and they'll still come up to me like, I love you, Daddy. I'm like, why?
It's because they respect you.
I'd love to see. I'd love to see that actually happen. So.
There you go.
Why do you love me? Or I love you. Why?
Why?
I've asked them before, and they just go, cuz.
And you know what? That's all it takes.
That's a good question. I'm going to ask next time my kid says that, I'm going to say, why?
So my nephew.
You might not like what you hear, Patrick.
What?
You might not like what you hear, Patrick.
It's for
Why
science.
do you love me? Because mom says we have to.
Anytime your kid asks you a question that starts
you
with
wipe my
why, the answer is because you touch yourself. All you gotta say, shut that shit down.
And then I will learn the answer to why my wife no longer cares for me very quickly. To be like, you tell the kids terrible things about me.
So my nephew, he's about 2 years old, and for whatever reason has decided my name is Emmett.
Emmett.
That's from the Lego movie.
That's what I thought, but apparently not. Apparently he hasn't seen it because my cousin hates it.
Oh, that kid's seen it. Or I don't know, if he goes to daycare, maybe the other kids talk about it.
I don't know, but I'm Emmett, so
Emmett is a character in I've never seen Lego movie. Have you seen the second one?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
I've seen the first one. I haven't seen the second one.
I watched the second one about a month ago, I think. It's pretty.
Yeah, I enjoy the Lego movie.
Chris Pratt, I think it is, plays himself.
You are correct.
Yep.
And well, he plays two characters, but the same character, and it's fucking.
Does is there a movie that you have to watch on repeat with kids? Like is there a movie that you feel that your kid will always want to watch this movie?
No. Not anymore.
Lately,
Depends on the age.
What about you,
My
Jeff?
kids are 9 and almost 6, so they're beyond that. It's mostly, hey, what's on YouTube and shit like that. Like, we have movie nights, but they don't want to watch the same thing over.
Man, your kids are 9 and 6?
Yeah.
I remember when you were teaching Ethan how to use the toilet.
Yeah.
I think we still have to do that with Pat. I don't think he's entirely housebroken.
Look,
Pat, have you gone to the washroom?
that thing is a puzzle, and I dare any of you to say otherwise. First, you have to
mine has
sit.
been on a Godzilla trip.
Nice.
Godzilla, yep, that's a good. I like Andrew has good taste.
Yeah, he does.
But actually, surprisingly, we've been watching like classic Godzilla, and he's still very entertained by it.
Nice.
Well, yeah.
Agreed. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Like I said, your kid has a really good taste.
And it's like the original monster movies where it wasn't CGI; it was actual puppets
Or a
Animal
guy in a
toys.
suit.
or a guy in a
Yeah.
suit.
Or an actual Godzilla. I mean, let's be honest with a kid.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Honesty is the best policy, especially when it comes to Godzilla.
Jeff,
And they're in their formative years.
Jeff,
And you can explain Mothra.
what is your kids' go-to movie or go-to show?
I don't know what we're watching now. We went through a Minions phase. We went through a Secret Life of Pets phase. I think it's TV shows right now, Storybots and Paw Patrol.
Yep, Paw Patrol.
They did go through a brief, thankfully very brief phase where they watched Super Buddies on repeat.
Oh, God.
I see you've got some experience there, too.
Yeah, my kid's thing is Mickey and the Roadster Racers and Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and oh God, I'm trying to think what else. For a while there it was Puppy Dog Pals, but then I got rid of cable, so that solved that problem really quick.
Yeah.
Wow. Surprisingly, me, it's been Lego related programs. And
Wait, is the Legos for Andrew or is that for you, Chase? Because
well, no, like for him, he's legit like about. He can even like if we go to the store, he can legit like point out like, oh, those are fake Lego, or oh,
Nice.
Those are, yeah, he knows. The
You've
difference.
trained him well.
And then the other show he likes to watch is
Storks?
Storage Wars.
Oh, nice.
Really?
So your son is like a 60-year-old man.
Actually, the Canadian version. He likes the Canadian version.
Oh, that's even
I
better.
hate that version. I think it's all.
You got to get him to start watching Pawn Stars.
Best I can do is 250.
Oh, that's the best show ever. And you know what? The main guy, the two main guys, Chumley and the other guy, the main guy, Rick, they're on this thing called cameo.com. So now, like, if you pay them $40, they'll like send you a message.
How lame do you have to be?
I guess the pawn business took a hit after the old man died.
I have an idea. Why don't we pay them to send Julian a message to join us one of these days?
That would be a very good use of that.
That is the most evil, sinister plan I've ever heard. I love it.
I would love that. Yeah.
Send Julian message.
I have a better idea. Why don't we sell them the rights to the Jackass Express?
To the guy on Pawn Stars. He's like, I'll give you $2 for this.
No, he'd be like, wait, I need to get someone.
Let me get my expert.
Yeah, let me get my expert.
The expert would be like, who?
And he appraises the program.
And then it goes to the cut with the camera. He's like, I'm just buying this thing so I can shut it down. I don't want this to exist in the world.
But yeah.
Oh, man.
Good episode 55, guys.
I think so. I think
What
so.
cartoons are you watching, Tip?
Okay.
You got left out.
Well, I watched Rocco's Modern Life today.
Oh, it's on Netflix.
Yep. I was thinking when you guys were talking about all these kids shows, Gummy Bears, and how they're bouncing here and there and everywhere.
I eat them mostly.
Pat, we don't want to know about your sexual life.
Gummy bears, they're a real thing, man. Okay, go on.
I watched Spider-Man Enter the Multiverse or Spider-Verse or whatever it's called.
Yep, watched that today. That was good.
Surprisingly
Excellent movie.
Excellent movie.
Yeah. Then, I don't watch a whole lot of,
You need to watch Jessica Jones. I keep telling you. Everybody says it's not a good thing. You need to watch it from the beginning.
It's not like you've got anything else to do, Tip.
Yeah, I guess I could knock it out next week.
I hated Jessica Jones.
No, it's fantastic.
God.
Give it the old college try.
Don't waste your time.
Yeah, watch Punisher instead.
Oh, Punisher's awesome.
So I think it's time. We've been at this a little bit, and I think it's time to wrap this up.
I think so.
Ooh, one more thing.
Oh, he's a Canadian. Go on, Dan.
Okay.
Say sorry first.
We were talking about like what's next and what's coming up next.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very
shit.
excited because I've been harassing this group. Not really. I've asked a couple times if they wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons. And I had a neat idea that none of them had ever played before, and I've never been the dungeon master or the storyteller. And I thought, well, how interesting would that be if, we're all new to our roles and we're all a little nervous on it. And I finally got them to rally behind me, other than Sax, because he still hasn't made his fucking character. But I did do, we recorded 2 sessions today. They're session zeros, they're introductions to the characters and stuff. depending on how long it takes Pat to edit them, I assume you'll see them soon. But
In a
I'm very
year.
excited for the campaign to start.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, that
We'll
is
see them
awesome.
when his children are in high school.
That's also fairly accurate. And I want to close things out today because I think Pat's bad at it. And
for it.
in honor of Dan being here, I don't know how many people we have crossing over that used to listen to the Why Did Ask For podcast, but we used to end every podcast with me asking a celebrity out on a date.
Nice.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And since Dan is here,
Are you going to ask him out?
You're gonna ask Dan out on a date?
Or Justin
no,
Trudeau.
Justin Trudeau.
no,
Heard no.
I'm changing this up just a little bit because my needs have changed. So if you're a company out there and you want a go-getter,
Oh, here we
give me a
go.
call.
Looking for a job? That's low even for you.
I'm just, you know,
Just ask out a celebrity and let's end. it.
Desperate.
Selena Gomez. I'll put the offer out again.
Oh, the classic.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's it. See you guys later.
All right.
Bye.
See you later.
Have a wonderful time.
Bye.
Jackass Express!